Today's news highlights. Date February 12, 2025. News highlights: U.S. President Trump signed an executive order on the 10th to impose 25% tariffs on all imported steel and aluminum products, covering processed finished products, and there is no state exemption to prevent foreign dumping and protect domestic industries. The new tariffs cover downstream products and affect the U.S. consumer market. The move is aimed at preventing China and Russia from circumventing tariffs and boosting domestic production in the United States. The U.S. government stressed that this policy will ensure the steady development of the steel and aluminum industry and reduce its dependence on foreign countries. China has imposed tariffs on some U.S. imports, raising trade tensions between the two sides. News highlights: China's current economic woes have entered a new phase, with official figures at odds with reality. Judging from the official measures to deny the withdrawal of foreign capital while rushing to stabilize foreign investment confidence has been seriously frustrated. News highlights: the rejection of the election and recall law does reflect the severity of the current political confrontation in Taiwan. Blue and white joined forces to adhere to the new law, believing that it was to ensure the authenticity of the recall system and prevent the use of personal information. The Green camp believes that this is a disguised increase in the recall threshold, weakening the people's right to recall, and even affecting the fairness of the current legislator. News highlights: TSMC held its first board meeting in the United States, showing the deepening geopolitical influence. The session focused on the Arizona expansion, Trump's tariff threats, and U.S. government subsidies. The cost of the Arizona plant is 50% higher than that of Taiwan, and the lack of local supply chain and talent may affect efficiency. If Trump is elected and imposes 100% tariffs, TSMC and U.S. companies will be impacted. Samsung and Intel are accelerating the development of 2nm, and the competitive pressure is increasing. TSMC's expansion in the United States is a high-cost gamble, and how to balance technology leadership, political risk, and cost will become a key challenge in the future. News highlights: in the face of Trump's tariff war, Zhejiang reduced risks through nearshoring production and diversified layout. Indonesia and Vietnam have nearly 4% production capacity, and El Salvador and Guatemala have strengthened the supply chain of the U.S. market to ensure rapid response. Flexible layout of 7 places around the world to reduce the risk of a single origin. Zhejiang continues to promote digitalization to improve forecasting and production efficiency. The sportswear business is growing rapidly, combined with fashion trends to drive market demand. The first quarter was fully loaded to the second quarter, and the company maintained cautious optimism throughout the year, steadily expanding new customers, and expected continued revenue growth. News highlights: the National Cinema in Tainan was originally scheduled to celebrate its 75th anniversary, but due to long-term losses, it will temporarily turn off its lights on March 2nd. Manager Wu Junqing confirmed the matter and stressed that transformational cooperation will be sought in the future. Cinemas across the United States once inspired director Ang Lee, who has gone through glory days, and now has temporarily left the film industry due to box office slumps and business difficulties. The cinema plans to transform in the future, and the management may change, and it is expected to invite the hand-drawn movie signage master Nan Zhenfa to return. In the face of the changes of the times, this theater that carries the memory of Tainan's film and television culture is still exploring new possibilities. News highlights: Taiwan stocks rose 131 points to close at 23,384 yesterday, encouraged by Nvidia's strength and TSMC's positive performance. TSMC rose $5 to $1,110 as the market focused on its first U.S. board meeting, focusing on quarterly dividends and tariff countermeasures. Foreign investors bought more than 9.3 billion yuan, and the 3 major legal persons bought more than 11.93 billion yuan in total. AI, electronics, and raw materials stocks led the gains, but Trump's tariff policy and MSCI adjustments are still uncertain. The legal person expects that TSMC's quarterly interest rate increase is high, which is expected to drive the return of foreign capital, and Taiwan stocks may further challenge the 23,642-point pressure zone, and investors are advised to maintain risk awareness. News highlights: driven by Trump's tariff policy and market safe haven demand, the international gold price hit a new high of $2,942.68 per British tael on the 11th, and experts expect to challenge $3,500 in the near future. The People's Bank of China, PBOC, continued to increase its holdings of gold, and the market was highly investigative, as well as the risk of geopolitics and trade wars. Wall Street predicts that gold will break through $3,000 in the near term, and JP Morgan Chase & Co. estimates it at $3,150 by the end of the year. Investors pay attention to Fed Chairman Powell's testimony to look for clues on interest rates, and the market's short-term inflation expectations have risen to a new high in 2023, which may affect the pace of easing and the trend of gold prices. News highlights: in the global blood cancer drug Pegas's shortage crisis, Yehua Pharmaceutical, 6446, successfully launched a new drug Ropeg to fill the shortage and began to ship life-saving drugs. This event will enhance the international visibility of Yehua medicine, and it is expected that this year's revenue will increase significantly, reaching more than 20 billion yuan. Experts expect Ropeg to replace Pegas's and Yehua to become the market leader. With global demand soaring and supply in Europe and the US set to be constrained until 2026, Yehua shipments are expected to grow significantly, especially in the European market. News highlights: the new board, launched in July 2021, underwent major reforms in January 2025 to remove the qualified investor system and allow more people to participate in investment. However, the question remains whether the relaxation of conditions will increase the amount of investment. New Board 2.0 only needs to sign the risk warning to participate in trading. Compared with traditional listed OTCs, the new board provides a shortcut for Start UPS to raise funds, but there are still many difficulties to face, and the stock exchange has shortened the application period for companies to apply for transfer to the board to 1 year, hoping to encourage more companies to stay in Taiwan to raise funds. News highlights: Beigong Wuyud Palace is operated by 3 generations of the Lin Onil family, originating from the Chinese medicine store opened by Lin Onil's grandfather Chen Milin 70 years ago. Combining technology and tradition, Lam introduced an AI system to manage the flow of people, and innovated eco-friendly design, making it the world's first carbon-neutral temple. In addition to inheriting the faith, Wuyud Palace also actively gives back to the society, donating more than 120,000 bento boxes every year, combining faith and social responsibility, and has become a legend of Beigong. News highlights the Kirin Bar beer is advertised on its official website as an original Taiwanese brand and is advertised in the store with the national flag of the Republic of China as the background, but it is actually made by a manufacturer in Zhuhai, Guangdong Province, China. Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, legislator Guo Kuan criticized this marketing method as misleading consumers and violating the detailed rules for the implementation of the Tobacco and Alcohol Administration Law, and questioned whether the Taipei city government will deal with the issue. He also pointed out that another Chinese-made Snow Mountain beer also used the American flag for misleading propaganda. News highlights former legislator Gao Jie questioned the issue of Kuomintang legislator Li Yangziu's luxury property and property in the United States, saying that she did not honestly declare her overseas assets and had a U.S. Social Security number, suggesting that Li Yangziu may have a green card. Wang Derui, a professor in the United States, refuted this, pointing out that the Social Security number, SSN, is not directly related to the U.S. green card. He emphasized that SSNs are mainly used for tax and social benefits, while green cards are immigration status, and the two belong to different systems. Anderui said that Ms. Li's possession of a social security number does not mean that she has a green card, and suggested that she simply show her U.S. visa records to clarify. News highlights Chen Hongshen, vice president of Chengdu University, and Su Hongmin, professor of the Department of Information and Engineering of National Taiwan University, were exposed to a scandal of cheating in marriage, and both of them secretly ate the same woman, which is shocking. According to the report, the woman is a high-ranking woman from the computer guild, who met Chen Hongshen through business dealings and developed an affair. Chen Hongshen and this woman have a very close relationship, and even behave like a couple in love in public. News highlights Da.S. Su Ziwan, passed away due to influenza complicated by pneumonia during the Spring Festival, which made his mother and mother grief-stricken. She posted on Facebook, sharing Chen Shen's song Keep the Sadness to Yourself, expressing the pain of losing her daughter, and wrote, "The heart, a hole, how to make up for it." Netizens left messages of comfort, encouraging her to take care of herself, and wishing Da.S. to rest in peace, reminding S.'s mother to take good care of the child and let time heal the pain. News highlights Chen Hongshen, vice president of National Cheng Kung University, and Su Hongmin, a professor at the Department of Information Engineering of National Taiwan University, were recently revealed to have cheated in marriage, and the two secretly ate the same woman. The woman is a mature woman with a high surname from the Taipei Computer Business Association. Although she is over 40 years old, she is still well-maintained and has a young appearance. The report pointed out that the two professors behaved intimately with Gao Nu, and the rupture of their images shocked the outside world, especially since both of them have the image of a good man who loves his wife and family, but he secretly has an indecent relationship. News highlights a mother complained that her one-year-old daughter was abused by her nanny in the class, and her daughter suffered facial injuries with contusions and bruises in a cram school in Tainan. The nanny said that the injury was pressed by a saliva towel, and the proprietress said that it was pressed by sleeping on her stomach. But my mother thought this statement was unreasonable and reported the case. The cram school was not videotaped and monitored, and the mother could not provide evidence, so she appealed to the society to help report it. After the post, netizens reacted strongly, questioning the cram school management and nanny qualifications. News highlights recently, the number of patients with influenza and norovirus has skyrocketed, and major hospitals in Taiwan have been congested in emergency departments, and hospitals such as National Taiwan University Hospital and Chonggung Hospital are facing a full bed crisis. As the number of emergency waiting patients at National Taiwan University Hospital increases, an emergency response mechanism has been activated to remove beds as much as possible. The emergency department full bed situation has also spread to the south, and the emergency department of Tainan Chinda and Chimay hospitals is overcrowded with patients, and some patients can only stay in the aisle or ambulance. The medical profession urges patients with mild symptoms to avoid emergency departments and transfer them to outpatient clinics to avoid aggravating medical pressure. News highlights the 48-year-old actress Da.S. Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in Japan, and her ex-mother-in-law Zhang Lan frequently took advantage of this incident to gain popularity, causing dissatisfaction from the outside world, and Douyin also banned the accounts of Zhang Lan and her family members Wang Xiaofei and Xiaojian. Although the account has been banned, Zhang Lan's brand Malayuji still continues to bring goods through live broadcasts on other accounts, and Li Liang, vice president of Douyin, explained that if there are no rumors involved, the platform supports brand self-broadcasting. Zhang Lan and other accounts were blocked because Xiaojian released false news, which was regarded as bad rumors after clarification. News highlights a 28-year-old foreign flight attendant of Eva Air was run over by a turning container truck in Luzhou district while riding a U-bike on the 10th, and unfortunately died because he entered a blind spot in sight. According to the monitor screen, the container truck turned right due to the phenomenon of inner wheel difference, and the flight attendant rode at the green light and entered the dead end, and was finally run over and sent to the hospital and declared dead. Eva Air is deeply saddened by the tragic loss of his staff and said that it will fully assist the family in handling the follow-up matters. Police appeal to stay away from large vehicles and avoid blind spots. News highlights a man surnamed Zhang in Keelung City was reported and fined 24,000 yuan for letting his family get off the bus at a stop on Zhenji Road near his home in December last year. Zhang Nan questioned the police's decision to impose a fine in accordance with the wrong law, pointing out that the vehicle was not fully parked at that time, and he believed that he should be punished for violating the law, but believed that the fine was too high and did not comply with the principle of proportionality. Keelung City Councillor Liu Miling also said that the roads in Keelung are narrow and temporary stops are common, so the punishment is too heavy. After a re-examination, the police department admitted that the wrong law was invoked and will ask the supervisory authority to revoke the fine. News highlights February 10th is the birthday of Chen Lei and Du Duai, and the fan page Stranger Things Institute posted on the Threads platform, revealing that Du Duai is 1 year older than Chen Lei, which shocked netizens. Du Duai is 63 years old, his frozen age state has sparked discussions, he and his wife Li Xiaobing are 24 years apart, and they have shared maintenance secrets. Chen Lei, 62 years old, is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people with classic songs such as Just Be Happy and The Wind Really Penetrates, and has been promoted to a grandfather in recent years, and only occasionally appears in public. News highlights Taiwan's anti-communist YouTuber Beijing revealed on the afternoon of the 11th that the curator Chen Saihan had questioned him about exposing China's United Front tactics as a screenwriter, but recently a photo of the curator appeared in a report by the French media Radio France Internationale, with the title Who is Hiding Behind the Terrible Chinese Gangsters. This sparked a heated discussion among Taiwanese netizens, some of whom complained about the director's anti-communist stance in the past and the change in his current image, and said that he no longer seemed to pay attention to these issues. The report mentions that Vikings documentary explores the triad's relationship with the Chinese Communist Party, and that the curator has also been interviewed in the documentary about his opposition to the CCP. News highlights Fu Kunking, the chief of the Kuomintang Legislative Yuan, once provided about 40 candidates for the Blue Camp legislature, and when Wen Langdong, a famous mouthful, investigated Li Yangziu's political donations, he found that these small items came from Hualian's Anti-Yangzi Co., Ltd. He questioned whether the company was set up by Fu Kunkai and asked whether the source of the gifts came from China and whether they were provided free of charge to the Blue Committee. The head of the company has the same name as the Hualian official who has been impeached, which has attracted attention. News highlights Newsweek reported that China faces 4 major economic threats, including deflation, weak consumption, slowing industrial production and Trump's tariffs. Although China's CPI rose by 0.5% in January, deflationary pressures remain strong, with domestic consumption and industrial production sluggish. Trump's new tariffs will exacerbate China's dependence on exports and create more difficulties. In addition, Goldman Sachs pointed out that the rise in CPI in January was mainly affected by the early spring festival, and it is not expected to last in February. News highlights in the case of the serial murder of 3 septuagenarian women in Kaohsiung, the suspect surnamed Zhang was taken into custody and denied the crime. Prosecutors continue to recover body parts and inspect the murder's home. It has been rumored that the whereabouts of Zhang's brother are a mystery, and he may also encounter an accident. The Kaohsiung Municipal Criminal University clarified that Zhang's younger brother was sentenced to 17 years in prison for a drug case, and he was wanted before the case was executed. News highlights Egyptian Foreign Minister Abdelhadi told U.S. Secretary of State Rubio on the 10th that Arab countries rejected U.S. President Trump's plan to leave Palestinians in the Gaza Strip out and under U.S. control. Trump has said he is committed to buying and owning Gaza and considering handing over some of it to other Middle Eastern countries for reconstruction. Egypt, for its part, stressed that the future of the Gaza corridor was crucial for the Palestinians to remain on the ground and to accelerate reconstruction. News highlights Selena, Hebe, and Ella of the Heavenly Group S.H.E were recently spotted traveling together in Japan, and the picture caused heated discussions among fans after the picture was exposed. The 3 of them were wearing earth-tone jackets and sunglasses, chatting casually, with smiles on their faces, and they seemed quite comfortable. However, due to the recent severe flu in Japan, fans are worried that they are not wearing masks, and they have left messages to remind them to protect themselves. Despite this, fans still expressed excitement and envy, hoping that they could hold a concert together again. News highlights according to the Taiwan Stock Exchange, the total revenue of all listed companies in January 2025 reached 3.5 trillion yuan, an annual increase of 7.52%. The green energy and environmental protection industry, the cement industry and the shipping industry saw the largest revenue growth, respectively, due to the undertaking of engineering cases, the growth of cement companies' consolidated performance and the recovery of freight rates. On the other hand, the revenues of the glass, ceramics, paper, and steel industries declined due to the sluggish property market in China, the impact of the Lunar New Year and weak demand. News highlights mainland female producer Wang Ziqi's remarks on Ji Yongja criticized her for her bright clothes when the first 7 days of Big S were not outdated, and was dissatisfied with her decision to support Big S's tree burial, and even accused Xiao S of having no right to arrange the funeral. Wang Ziqi, further involved in politics, choked Ji Yongja as not worthy of being a friend of Big S, and threatened to affect the development of Little S in the mainland. Ji Yongja responded briefly, try it, and seemed unaffected, while Wang Ziqi responded forcefully, it will be as you wish, which heated up the incident again. News highlights Japan has always been the first choice for Taiwanese tourists, but recently some tourists have reported that the locals are not friendly. The writer Aji-san of the Japanese analyzes that cultural differences can lead to misunderstandings, and lists behaviors that are likely to anger Japanese people, such as clams. Let the children be noisy, talk loudly about the mobile phone, make noise when eating, etc. In addition, he also clarified that statements such as izakaya must order alcohol and ramen soup must be drunk are misunderstandings, and reminded Taiwanese tourists to respect local customs in order to reduce cultural friction and maintain friendly relations between Taiwan and Japan. News highlights Kaohsiung's 72-year-old man Zhang Zhizong is suspected of killing 3 women and dismembering their bodies, and the motive for the crime is unknown. A subordinate who is familiar with him on the construction site broke the news that Zhang is addicted to gambling, was a foreman, had a good income, often carried a large amount of cash to sign the Mark 6 lottery, and allegedly won millions of prizes. He has been gambling in Zhouying Wanyan County Park for many years, and is especially keen on Tianji Upei and chess mahjong. After the incident, the gambling activities of the local elderly have decreased significantly, and everyone avoided talking about the relationship with Zhang. News highlights after the sudden death of Big S, the family chose to be buried in a tree, which sparked heated discussions. Folklore expert Zhang Bale believes that scattering ashes on the earth or the sea may affect the integrity of the soul, affect the fortune of reincarnation and offspring, and calls for avoiding environmentally friendly burials. However, expert Liao Taiyi has a different view, believing that tree burial can turn the soul of the deceased into an evergreen tree to protect the family. Xiao S confirmed that Big S had expressed his hope for tree burial before his death, and his family is currently applying for the ashes to be temporarily placed at home and returned to nature after the application is approved. News highlights the whole Taiwan set off a legislator recall action. Su Qiaxin became the target of the eradication of Black Core Group, and UMC founder Cao Xing Cheng served as the leader of the recall, criticizing her for using the legislator position as a sphere of influence, and calling herself old way down the mountain to fight against Demon Girl. Su Qiaxin fought back in the community and posted fitness photos to show his vitality, but unexpectedly, netizens ridiculed the power of the middle finger because of the mirror reflection gesture. In the face of heated discussions, she humorously responded, "Otherwise, how can you survive to the end when there is a conflict? Demonstrate an unaffected attitude." News highlights the confrontation between the government and the opposition continued to heat up, and the TPOC surveyed the online voice of the budget issue, with the Education and Culture Committee leading the controversy over public television and the Academia Sinica, followed by the Internal Affairs Committee, and the Transportation Committee related to information security and fraud ranking third. Chen Yuzhen's threat to cut the 2.3 billion yuan budget for public television has triggered a backlash from the cultural circles, and the administrative agencies have even suspended sign language interpreters due to budget cuts, and the Joint Service Center is threatened to close down. The Mainland Affairs Council is also worried that the budget reduction will affect the ability of the anti-United Front, and the deletion of the budget for fire protection and social housing continues to cause heated discussions. News highlights Blue and White joined forces to cut the budget to trigger the era of general recall in Taiwan, and the first phase of multi-district joint signatures and submissions have been sent, and the goal has entered the second stage. Chuk Wanting, a member of the Democratic Progressive Party's new Taipei City Council, said that President Lai Ching-te had released goodwill to convene an inter-house coordination, but the KMT chose to ignore it, resulting in the accumulation of public resentment. He criticized the Kuomintang and the People's Party for joining hands to spoof Taiwan, from the financial planning law, the constitutional procedure law to the general budget, detonating the spontaneous recall action of all Taiwanese citizens. Blue and White blocked the bill last night, passed the election and recall law amendment, and raised the threshold for recall and signatures, and Zhou Guanting bluntly said that this move was to counter citizen recall and evade public supervision. News highlights Big S, Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia, which plunged his family and fans into deep grief. A week after the loss of her daughter, SS mother, Huang Chunmiai, spoke out through social platforms one after another, telling her grief with Chen Sheng's song Keep Your Sadness to Yourself on the 10th, and again in the early morning of the 12th. She used My Heart Has Broken a Hole, how to make up for it. The 11-word phrase expresses the pain in the heart. Fans have left messages of comfort, hoping that she can take care of her body and let time slowly heal the pain. News highlights Chen Wenkin's recent situation makes people feel distressed and worried. Since she was diagnosed with lung adenocarcinoma in 2019, she has experienced a period of success in fighting cancer, but unfortunately her condition deteriorated again and she was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma Laos cancer, which has spread to other organs. Chen Wenkin posted on Facebook in the early hours of this morning, frankly admitting the deep affection and coldness of the disease, and expressing her helpless feelings about the illness. She mentioned the process of immunotherapy, including some side effects such as myocarditis, but remained optimistic and described her magical journey as a magical journey in her way of dealing with the disease. Netizens have left messages to give blessings and encouragement, hoping that she can recover smoothly and get the best curative effect. News highlights Fan Bingbing recently posted on social media to mourn DS, and shared a photo of DS wearing a bright yellow racing suit, recalling the past cooperation between the two and the impression when they first met. Fan Bingbing said that she would always remember DS's innocent smile and wish her peace in heaven. Netizens also recalled that the two had participated in racing activities together, and lamented the impermanence of time and cherished the present. News highlights according to a survey by Taiwan's Information Environment Research Center, Huang Qiuakang, the acting chairman of the People's Party, ranks 20th in the list of Taiwanese characters most frequently cited by Chinese state media during before and after the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Huang Qiuakang said he was surprised by this and stressed that he had never used Douyin. He questioned the headlines of the Green media and challenged the DPP to come out for debate. The Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, criticized that Blue and White's false remarks would only become a pawn of China. News highlights according to the latest poll by Mirror News, 46.4% of the public approve of the recall of legislators in Taiwan, slightly higher than 44.5% disapprove. According to the survey, the main support for the recall came from supporters of the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, and the Power of the Times, with 77.5% and 74.6% respectively. If the recall is upheld, 73.8% of the public said they would vote. Polls show that KMT supporters have the highest percentage of opposition to the recall campaign, while DPP supporters are the most active in voting. News highlights there were constant loud bangs in the Chi area, and people mistook it for thunder or fireworks, and even felt the doors and windows vibrate. In fact, these voices came from the military's live fire training in Beihe District, Tainan City. According to the announcement, a number of live firing will be conducted in February, including dates such as the 11th and 12th. This training activity explains the source of the loud sound in the Chi area. News highlights Chen Hongshen, Vice President of National Cheng Kung University, and Su Hungman, a professor at the Department of Engineering of National Taiwan University, were shocked to have cheating in marriage, and both of them had extramarital affairs with the same beautiful witch who was over 40 years old. The woman, who works at the Taipei Computer Business Association, is well maintained and looks younger than her actual age. Chen Hongshen returned to her home for the night after an intimate date at a tavern in Dunn District, while Su Hungman spent time with her on Christmas Eve. NTU said that the incident was a personal matter and had no intention of commenting. News highlights a Vietnamese female flight attendant in her 20s of Eva Air was unfortunately hit and run over by a right-turning container truck while riding a U-bike in Luzua District on the afternoon of the 10th, and died on the spot. The accident occurred near the headquarters of Evergreen, and when the container truck made a right turn, the inner wheel difference occurred, and the flight attendant entered a blind spot in the line of sight and failed to avoid it. The deceased only joined Evergreen last year, and the accident caused widespread concern. Police are urging cyclists to stay away from large vehicles and avoid entering blind spots. News highlights the death note of Zhang Zhizong, a suspect in the Kaohsiung dismemberment case, was exposed, and the number of victims on the list increased to 10, and shockingly, Zhang Zhizong's own brother Zhang Wenzong also appeared in it. Zhang Wenzong was sentenced to 17 years in prison for a drug case, but he has been lost so far, and the police have issued a wanted notice for him. After the card god Yang Wu revealed this news, it attracted widespread attention. The police said that there are 4 men in Zhang Zhizong's family, and in addition to the deceased eldest brother and the missing brother, the second brother has been contacted, and stressed that Zhang Wenzong will continue to be pursued. News highlights this morning, 12th. The office of DPP Taipei City Councillor Chen Yujun in the City Council was searched by the Investigation Bureau, and the office has not yet responded to this. Chen Yujun has been elected as a city councillor for Taipei City's 4th constituency since 2018 and was successfully re-elected in 2022. She has recently been in the spotlight for being involved in a sexual harassment incident involving the Taipei City Education Bureau and watching a pirated event. Chen Yujun has publicly apologized for this, explaining that he could not pay attention to the viewing platform he used because of his busy schedule. News highlights according to the latest poll released by Mirror News today, 12th. 46.4% of the people agreed with the general recall legislator activity, while 44.5% disagreed, with a difference of only 1.9 percentage points. The groups with higher support are mainly from the DPP and the Power of the Times, while the KMT supporters are strongly opposed. If the general recall is successful, 73.8% of the people said they would go to the polls. The survey covered 1,092 respondents and was conducted at a 95% confidence level. News highlights Chen Hongshen, Vice President of National Cheng Kung University, and Su Hongmin, a professor at the Department of Information Engineering of National Taiwan University, were recently revealed by Mirror Weekly to be cheating in marriage, and the juniors of the two professors turned out to be the same person. The junior is a beautiful witch over 40 years old who works at the Taipei Computer Business Association. According to reports, Chen Hongshen and the woman met many years ago because of business and often went to Taipei meetings, while Su Hongmin had intimate interactions with her during the Christmas period. National Taiwan University and Cheng University respectively said that they would not comment on this as a personal matter, and said that they were still understanding the situation. News highlights the Eastern Theater of the People's Liberation Army, PLA, issued a news release on the 12th, revealing that the U.S. Navy destroyer USS Johnson and the USS Bodok survey ship passed through the Taiwan Strait from the 10th to the 12th, and criticized this move for sending a wrong signal. This statement shows that the Taiwan Strait is China's sphere of influence and intends to strengthen its political stance. When Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense confirmed the passage of the U.S. warship, the Taiwan military monitored the whole process and the condition was normal. News highlights after actress S. Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia, on the 8th, her relatives and friends such as Xiao S and others held a wake for her at the first 7 o'clock, ate fruits, drank champagne, and tried their best to comply with the SS wishes. However, mainland writer Chen Lan criticized this move under the pen name Deep Sea Demon, questioning that the two held a party in the mansion, ignoring the feelings of the two sons and daughters of Big S, and proposed that the handover of Big S's estate should be handled more carefully, which triggered polar reactions from netizens. News highlights the flu epidemic is heating up, and Taiwan added 128 severe cases and 28 deaths last week, including a boy under the age of 10 in southern China who died of acute necrotizing encephalopathy complicated by an immune storm. Taipei Rong President Zhang Jiaming pointed out that the immune storm is the body's immune system out of control, which accidentally damages healthy tissues, especially the brain, when fighting the virus. The disease progresses rapidly, and it is important to detect abnormal symptoms such as high fever and listlessness at an early stage. Zhang Jiaming reminded that influenza vaccination can reduce the risk of immune storm and reduce the occurrence of fatal brain lesions. News highlights recently, some people in Kaohsiung witnessed a man riding a bicycle with a large piece of meat covered with a raincoat in the back seat, which caused panic among passing drivers, and even thought that he was a victim of a dismemberment case. After confirmation, it turned out to be a processed piece of pork, suspected to be a pork belly part. The incident occurred on Dachang 3rd Road, and this scene aroused the attention of netizens, and everyone was very sensitive to the recent unsolved Kaohsiung corpse dismemberment case. News highlights Tianfuchen, Hebe, recently announced that a new form of performance will be held in 2025, and exposed the picture of her Japanese travel with Selena and Ella in the expectation of fans. The three were wearing warm clothes and did not wear masks, which caused fans to worry. There are also fans who met at the airport and shared excitedly, saying that their dreams for many years have come true. Ella also expressed her gratitude to the ground staff, and the warm gesture touched the fans and sparked a wave of support and love discussions. News highlights Zhou Ziyu, a Taiwanese member of Twice, has recently caused the topic again. Korean celebrity chef Li Lianfu recalled her encounter with Zhou Ziyu in 2016 on the show, when she cried because she ate Taiwanese cuisine with fish-flavored shredded pork and hot pot prepared by Li Lianfu, saying that she remembered her hometown and mother, which made Li Lianfu feel distressed. Zhou Ziyu also praised Li Lianfu's craftsmanship, believing that this taste made her feel the warmth of her hometown after a long absence. This incident made fans pay more attention to her growth and efforts in South Korea. News highlights in order to commemorate the 30th anniversary of his debut, Li Hongwang chose to hold his first concert tour in Nanchang, a city that means a lot to him. Because after he experienced a low point in his life and took a 2-year break, Nanchang was his first stop on the stage. He said the concert made him feel like home and he was especially grateful to the city and the locals. After experiencing difficulties such as losing marriage and losing his reputation, Wang Lihom spent 3 years proving his innocence and growing from it. He said that he is now more determined about the future, and he does not prioritize his relationship for the time being, focusing on his career and family. He is grateful for the pain and challenges of the past, because it was these experiences that made him grow and become the person he is now. News highlights Big S. Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia on the 2nd at the age of 48, and the ashes will be buried by a tree, and the numerologist Zhang Bail is worried about the impact of the tree burial on future generations. Chinese director Wang Ziki criticized Xiao S for arranging the aftermath, questioned that the tree burial might be detrimental to Big SS children, and accused Jie Yongjia of not loving Big SS children, leading the topic to political issues and challenging Xiao SS career development in China. News highlights after Huang Xiaoming divorced Angela Baby, he publicly had a relationship with Ye Ke, an internet celebrity who was 14 years younger, but Ye Ke's controversial behavior attracted attention from the outside world. Later, Huang Xiaoming deleted Weibo to admit love, and it was rumored that the two broke up. Recently, a live broadcaster who claimed to be a friend of Huang Xiaoming confirmed that the two had broken up, and revealed that Ye Ke was pregnant with a female fetus and the expected date of delivery was next month. Despite this, Ye Ke will still give birth to a child, which has aroused heated discussions among netizens about Huang Xiaoming's wishes. News highlights: after the death of Taiwanese actress DS, Su Ziwan, the inheritance has become the focus of attention, and whether it can avoid Wang Xiaofei's involvement, as Gu Junyi said, sparked discussions. The financial network Mei Hu Kaping broke the news that Wang Xiaofei and her mother Zhang Lan were sentenced to pay $142 million, about NT $4.6 billion, for falsely reporting revenue, and transferred the money to Taiwan to set up a trust fund in an attempt to evade responsibility, and was finally determined by the court that Zhang Lan was the actual controller of the trust and suspected of money laundering. News highlights: MSCI announced the results of quarterly adjustments, adding Taiwan Optoelectronics, 2,383, and GIAS, 3,533, to the Global Standard Index, and deleting the Nya branch, 2,408, and Huaxin, 1,605. The Global Small Cap Index added 10 Taiwanese constituents, including Xingyu Airlines, 2,646, and deleted 41 Taiwanese constituents, including Yingbang, 3,693. The results of the adjustment will take effect at the close of trading on the 27th, which may affect the allocation of funds of global funds in Taiwan stocks. News highlights: after DS, Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia, his body returned to Taiwan for burial. SS mother Huang Chunmei was deeply distressed by the loss of her daughter, and recently posted on Facebook to express her grief, writing, "Keep the grief to yourself, and my heart has broken a hole," and she could not bear the huge pain of losing her daughter, which broke the hearts of netizens. Fans comforted Huang Chunmei in messages, hoping that she would take care of herself and bring blessings to let Big S rest in peace. News highlights: Liu Yanggui, chairman of Honhai, said at the groundbreaking ceremony that the cooperation between Honhai and Nissan Motor is not an acquisition, but a cooperation based on the Design Contract Service, CDMS, model. He stressed that Honhai will not enter the brand field, and if it cooperates with Nissan, it will focus on cooperation. As for the contact with Nissan's major shareholder Renault Motors to purchase shares, he pointed out that the negotiations between Honhai and Renault are mainly for cooperation, not for the purpose of owning shares. News highlights: due to the surge in demand for vaccines caused by the death of the Big S flu, Taiwan's vaccination volume has risen sharply, and some people were unable to be vaccinated for a while. In order to deal with high-risk groups, the Executive Yuan decided to purchase an additional 100,000 doses of influenza vaccine. The CDC announced the results of the tender today, and Taiwan Toyo won the bid with 12.705 million yuan to provide 100,000 doses of vaccines. The vaccine will be distributed to high-risk populations on February 20th, including the elderly, young children, pregnant women and people with chronic diseases. Despite the increase in vaccinations, the CDC expects a gradual decline in the epidemic this week. News highlights: after the Trump administration took office, the United States was open to cryptocurrency regulation, driving a market boom. Tesla held more than 11,000 bitcoins publicly for the first time, with an unrealized profit of $589 million. With crypto ETF applications lined up and products such as Litecoin and Dogecoin having a higher chance of being approved, the market is focusing on crypto assets entering the mainstream. Many countries around the world, such as the United States, China, the United Kingdom, and El Salvador, have increased their holdings and support for Bitcoin, showing that cryptocurrencies are gradually becoming important assets. News highlights: the Associated Press reported that White House correspondents for the Associated Press were barred from Trump-related events for refusing to cooperate with Trump's renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Trump signed an executive order calling for the name change after taking office, saying the place is vital to the United States, but the Associated Press said that the Gulf of Mexico has been used for more than 400 years and that the order is only valid in the United States. The Associated Press stressed that government interference in news coverage violated the First Amendment, and the White House Correspondents Association condemned the move. News highlights: the Paris AI Action Summit ended on November 11th, with 61 countries signing a declaration calling for open, inclusive, and ethical AI development, but the United States and the United Kingdom did not join because they opposed excessive regulation. U.S. Vice President Vance stressed the need for the AI industry to avoid over-regulation and said that he would not cooperate with authoritarian regimes, which he said was referring to China. Britain said the declaration was not in the national interest. French President Emmanuel Macron stressed the need for a framework of rules and trust for AI development, and announced a €109 billion private investment plan. India will be the next host country. News highlights: in Hefei, Anhui Province, China, a man was suspected of igniting a fuse by mistake when he set off a firework after drinking alcohol, causing the fireworks to explode instantly, killing the man instantly. Surveillance footage shows the man smoking while walking, and when he was about to set off fireworks, the fuse was wrongly lit, and he fell to the ground and caught fire after the explosion. This incident aroused social concern, and netizens pointed out that this kind of fireworks should not be used by the public in private, and questioned the design of the fireworks. News highlights: recently, a netizen discovered that his 6th grade brother chatted with his classmates through the Gmail chat room, and it turned out that the school had provided students with Gmail accounts during the epidemic so that they could participate in online classes smoothly. Unexpectedly, students began to use this platform to connect with their feelings, and some students even bravely confessed to their crushes. The discovery sparked heated discussions among netizens, with many sharing their own experiences of chatting with Gmail and lamenting such creativity in childhood memories. News highlights: former President Tsai Ing-wen revealed in a Facebook post a few days ago that after leaving office, she thought she would not receive a call from Kaohsiung Mayor Chen Kamai, but she did not expect it to be for the GE Cava lantern. In the video, Tsai Ing-wen shares the process of making the lantern by herself, and jokes that she was confident when she first installed the wheels, but found it unstable and finally completed it successfully. She also advertised Chen Kamai's Kaohsiung Winter Amusement Park activities and reminded everyone not to miss it. News highlights: Chen Yujun, a city councillor of the Democratic Progressive Party's Zhongshan and Datong districts of Taipei City, was investigated and searched on the morning of the 12th for his parliamentary office and local service offices. The case, which was directed by the Shilin District Prosecutor's Office, searched 13 locations and brought back 7 defendants and 3 witnesses. The investigation will be conducted under the Corruption Offences Ordinance and the Criminal Code, and suspicious issues relating to assistant fees will be investigated. Chen Yujun said outside the office that she would fully cooperate with the investigation and asked everyone to believe in her innocence. News highlights in the meeting of the five houses on the 10th, Legislative Yuan Hong Kuo-yu mentioned the social conflicts brought about by the general recall, and hoped that President Li Qiang, in his capacity as chairman of the Democratic Progressive Party, could call for the cessation of the vicious general recall and reduce internal conflicts. Li Qiang responded by quoting the Buddhist scripture Bodhisattvas fear causes, and sentient beings fear effects, emphasizing that solving the causes can make the recall subside. Former legislator Shen Fuseung pointed out that Hong Kuo-yu's explanation was flawed, arguing that the cause of the recall was not the general budget, but from Chao Noda, but it was not mentioned in the meeting. He predicted that the political situation would lead to a series of changes due to the general recall, and could even lead to the dissolution of some parliaments and a coup d'état. News highlights on the 11th, a series of felt earthquakes of magnitude 3.6 and 4.1 occurred in Dongshan District, Tainan City, with the epicenter located northeast of the Tainan City government. Earthquake expert Guo Kaiwen pointed out that the epicenter of the 3.6 magnitude earthquake is located on the west side of the Lunho Fault, which is different from the location of the previous epicenter, which is quite rare and worthy of further observation. Since the Chi-Tai-Po earthquake on January 21st, most of the aftershocks in this area have been concentrated in Dongshan, Nangxi, and Nanhua areas. News highlights Chen Piaji, a professor at National Taiwan University School of Medicine and an academician of the Academia Sinica, criticized the Li Qiang government for not proposing concrete solutions to major national issues such as energy, healthcare, declining birth rate, and cross-strait relations, and pointed out that the DPP lacks governance talents and cannot solve problems, relying on the general recall to brush up its existence. He said that last government is unable to come up with effective policies, and is in a state of inaction on energy, health, and other issues, and the wave of general recall will be difficult to stop. News highlights as the horrific dismemberment case in Kaohsiung enters its 7th day, the police continue to search, but bad weather and poor visibility at the bottom of the river make it impossible for divers to conduct an effective search. In order to break through the predicament, the police asked a professor to use scanning sonar to mark the seabed anomaly and help locate it. Despite the difficulties encountered during the search, including the failure of the dinghy and poor line of sight, it was hoped that the assistance of the instrument would facilitate the progress of the case. The family of the deceased believes that the body parts may have been carried by the current to the bottom of a nearby abandoned boat. News highlights a man in Pusa City, Chi County, lost control of his emotions due to a rental house dispute and attacked the lieutenant chief with a knife, causing the lieutenant chief to suffer a head injury. After the landlady rented the house to the man, she was frequently harassed and had no choice but to ask the governor to mediate and ask the tenant to move out on March 20th. Unexpectedly, the tenant lost control and slashed the lieutenant with a knife after breaking the door, but fortunately, the police arrived in time to suppress the man and send him to the hospital. The head laceration was about 7 centimeters and was not life-threatening. The man has been transferred for investigation on the charge of attempted homicide. News highlights today is the last day of the Bingo Bingo lottery launched by Taiwan Lottery, and there will be a bonus increase during the Spring Festival. The wealth code circulating on the internet is to buy Samsung Electric Selection Quadruple 10 periods, but the owner of the lottery shop recommends buying 4-star Electric Selection Quadruple 10 periods instead, because the odds are higher and the bonuses are more generous. According to the way of play, the winning return of the 4-star Electric Selection is more considerable, and it can be purchased repeatedly for multiple periods. Netizens shared their buying experience, and some people invested 1,000 yuan to win the lottery. Don't miss out on this last chance. News highlights Apple's new spring product, iPhone SE 4, has attracted great attention from fruit fans, and foreign media are expected to hit the shelves this week. Today, Apple's official website quietly launched the PowerBeats Pro 2 headphones, making fans more convinced that the iPhone SE 4 is about to debut. The PowerBeats Pro 2 is equipped with the Apple H2 chip, which focuses on sports heart rate monitoring, and is priced at 8,790 yuan and is available in 4 colors. Fans have said that they will pay close attention to Apple's official website and look forward to the upcoming debut of the new phone. News highlights Su Weining and Chu Ziyi have rarely appeared in public since they got married at the end of 2021. Recently, the couple rarely appeared together at Ruby Lin's birthday party, which caused heated discussions. When Su Weining attended the film and television platform Springwine, he announced the creation of a new company Timeline Production and planned to sign artists. She revealed that although the company is still in the initial stage, it has begun to develop, and low-key said that there will be more news in the future. Chu Ziyi accompanied him in a low-key manner, did not invest in the company, and the couple were sweetly in the same frame, showing love and support. News highlights Big S, Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in Japan on February 2 at the age of 48, and the news shocked the entertainment industry. In order to express their deep memory for her, die-hard fans played her classic images on the giant screen in Times Square in New York, USA, and left messages of gratitude to the fans. Advertising sessions are expensive, costing around $50,000 to $100,000 per minute. In addition to New York, Weibo Plaza in Nanjing also showed the image of Big S's mother shared the lyrics "Keep the grief to yourself" on Facebook, expressing the pain of losing her daughter, which is touching. News highlights South Korean girl group IVE recently expressed its condolences to Kim Hana, an 8-year-old girl who suffered a misfortune, and sent a condolence wreath and a support card to commemorate this young fan who loves IVE. Kim Hana was a big fan of IVE during her lifetime, especially the member Jang Yuanying, and often watched Jang Yuanying's shows. IVE's heart deeply touched Kim Hana's family. In an interview, Kim Hana's father called for the establishment of the Hana law to ensure the safety of schools and take care of teachers who are not in a good mental condition. Kim Hana was killed by a female teacher suffering from depression on the 10th, and the case has aroused social concern. News highlights Da S passed away on February 2, which made her mother Sue's mother deeply distressed and posted a message in the community to express her grief. Sue's mother shared Chen Sheng's song "Keep the Sadness to Yourself," and sighed, "My heart has broken a hole, how to make up for it." Some netizens dug out old photos of Sue's mother when she was young, praised her beauty, and thought that Da S's beauty was inherited from her mother. Sue's mother raised her 3 daughters strongly, made Big S and Little S become artists, and tried her best to improve the family economy, which is very admirable. News highlights the Kuomintang proposed that the government give 10,000 yuan in cash to each citizen, based on the overcollection of taxes of more than 500 billion yuan in 2024. The Ministry of Finance announced that last year's tax revenue reached a record high of more than 3.7 trillion yuan, and the excess amount was close to 500 billion yuan. The Kuomintang believes that this is the result of the joint efforts of the whole people and should be shared by the whole people, and pointed out that the amount of 10,000 yuan issued by the general public is only half of the over-levy. News highlights netizens witnessed Kim Woo-bin dating a woman in Australia and pointed out that the woman was not his girlfriend Shin Min-ae, which sparked discussion among netizens. The agency later clarified that the woman was Kim Woo-bin's sister, who was currently traveling with her family, and denied rumors of a relationship. Kim Woo-bin and Shin Min-ae's relationship has been public since 2015, and the two have become a showbiz story because of Kim Woo-bin's company with Shin Min-ae during his illness. News highlights according to the latest February 2025 poll, the overall satisfaction rate of DPP legislators is 45.1%, KMT legislators 31.6%, and People's Party 28.4%. The DPP is the most satisfied, the KMT has declined, and the People's Party is the least satisfied. In terms of dissatisfaction, the People's Party has the highest, 55.7%, followed by the Kuomintang, 55%, and the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, has the lowest, 42.7%. The results of the poll show that there is a significant difference in satisfaction with the performance of the three parties under the influence of issues such as the general budget controversy and the general recall. News highlights after the Spring Festival, the number of emergency visits to diarrhea in Taiwan surged, reaching 302,644 in the 6th week of 2025, February 2nd to 8th, and there were multiple clusters of outbreaks, the main cause of which was norovirus. A 5-year-old boy in Taichung and his family were infected, and the doctor reminded that norovirus is highly contagious and has an incubation period of 12 to 48 hours, and recommended hand hygiene and environmental disinfection to avoid cross-infection. Recently, there has been an increase in cluster infections in kindergartens and schools, and parents should pay attention to their children's diarrhea, vomiting and other symptoms and seek medical attention in time. News highlights the Ministry of Finance revised the total tax revenue of the Republic of China for 113 years, hitting a new high, exceeding the budget by 528.3 billion yuan. The Kuomintang proposed paying back to the people 2.0, proposing 10,000 yuan in cash per person, and emphasizing that this amount is less than half of the tax over tax, and there are still funds available. The government responded that the excess tax should be settled, and stressed that it should be used to reduce borrowing, expand national construction and social welfare, rather than simply handing out cash. The Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, said that the excess tax covers both the central and local governments, and that it can only be used with the consent of the legislative yuan. News highlights Chen Hongzhen, Vice President of National Cheng Kung University, and Su Hungmin, a professor at National Taiwan University, were recently reported by Mirror Weekly for marital cheating, which attracted social attention. Both had extramarital affairs with the same woman surnamed Gao, with whom Mr. Chen was alleged to have been in long-term contact and dated several times, while Mr. Su had dated with her on Christmas Eve last year. Chen Hongzhen and Su Hungmin are both heavyweights in the academic world, and the report has caused shock in the education community. Both universities said that the matter was private and did not comment further. News highlights according to the 2025 World's Best Airlines ranking released by AirlineRatings.com, Korean Air took the top spot, followed by EVA Air and Star Air ranked 11th and 18th, respectively. The selection criteria include flight safety, aircraft age, operating profit, passenger evaluation, etc. Korean Air is particularly praised for providing comfortable economy class seats, seat pitch 33 to 34 inches. Other airlines on the list include Qatar Airways, Air New Zealand, Cathay Pacific, and more. News highlights Zhang Yongrong shared his investment journey, from blind work in the early stage to 2 losses, and finally established a systematic investment logic. He emphasized that the right investment mindset, avoiding emotions, and maintaining discipline are the cornerstones of a successful stock market. Zhang Yongrong uses technical, chip and fundamental stock selection, and sets stop loss and stop profit points according to stock price trends. He mentioned that despite the interference of news in Taiwan stocks, they can still make profits through flexible operations, citing strong stocks such as Sunlian and Yuanta as examples. News highlights some netizens shared that in order to help after eating, they folded the dishes and plates, but they didn't expect to be looked down upon by the waiter. The waiter explained that stacking dishes would make the areas that had not been stained with the sauce dirty and would take more time to clean. This sparked a discussion among netizens. Some people think that washing dishes will not only clean the front, and some people agree with the waiter's statement, thinking that such a practice will increase the difficulty of cleaning. It was suggested that the utensils should be put away to avoid spilling the soup to make it easier for the waiter to clean up. News highlights S.H.E members Selena, Hebe, and Elle were recently photographed traveling together in Japan, and the three of them wore earth-tone jackets and sunglasses to chat casually and show their deep feelings. Although fans were excited about the chance encounter, they were also worried about the recent severe flu epidemic in Japan, and reminded them to wear masks to protect themselves. Some fans left messages saying, "Take care of yourself, remember to wear masks, and care about their health." News highlights Lee Yufen, a member of the classic girl group Dream Girls, recently made a rare update on the community dynamics and shared a series of beautiful photos. She changed into 5 outfits, showing off a large-scale frontal slightly open V, with gorgeous makeup, and full of aura, which amazed fans. Lee Yufen's dress and temperament make many people call it so different, almost unrecognizable. In addition, Song Mikan also revealed that Lee Yufen is still studying herself and preparing new works, and fans are looking forward to her early return.